Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show, sponsored by HM Company at DrainTroughs.com. Today, we have a special episode. We're actually in studio with our guest, Callstom. He is the lead of operations at Presso. And if you have not heard of Presso, this is a company you're going to want to learn more about. So stay tuned to this episode. It is going to drastically change your laundromat journey and add a new revenue stream to your business.
Yeah. In case you're wondering why Cam would come all the way from Atlanta to Cincinnati just to record a podcast, it's because we just hit our 100th episode. And now we're like a really big deal and people just fly in from all over the world. No, that's not what's happening. Cam is actually here because when you buy a Presso machine, and I know you guys have, a lot of you probably seen on social media where I shared posts and clips and stuff of the machine. They ship the machine here and then Cam comes in as the head of operations and he actually helps install it and he helps train your team on how to use the machine, how to leverage the machine and the functionality of it, but the strategy of it too. And so that's why he's here, is he was already in town putting our Presso machine in. And we thought, well, why not just come over to the studio and let's shoot a podcast and see if we can help some people out there today. So that's why Cam's here. In case you're wondering, we're going to jump into this episode and hopefully you find some value in it.
Also, this is right before the Clean Show. So if you have not bought your tickets yet for the Clean Show, remember in Orlando, August 23rd through 26th, you're going to want to come and see us. And we will be at the Launder Boost booth and other places. But also, Presso will be there, booth 1569. They are going to be having a big product reveal for an additional product that they are launching. And we're hoping to maybe get some hints as to what it is during the episode. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started with our episode with Cam.
What we have here is this business model that's genius, frankly, is the smallest possible unit of full service cleaning, garment care. And there's no reason that you can't start to grow your full service business that way. Like, this is a great jumping point for people and can be run by one person.
All right, so Cam, it's exciting to have you not just on our show, but actually in our hometown. We're so glad you could make it out to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Like Dave said in the intro, I fly out and meet with and consult with every single one of our clients. I'm really proud to meet everybody where they're at. All of these value-driven business owners. It's wonderful for me to meet, make that connection, have a meal together, and also set up a great business, right? So what we do is we ship the machine to you in our awesome crate that takes great care of it and on its way, all the way to wherever it's going. And then we come, me and soon to be my team, unpack the machine, hook it up to everything, test the machine thoroughly, make sure we're up and running. And then once we're up and running, we do comprehensive training on the machine with all of your teams so that everybody is ready to go on day one. The whole goal of our onboarding process is that we can make real money, real revenue, run our real process on day one, right? And we saw that yesterday in Queen City Laundromat, that we processed a lot of my clothes, right, that came out of my suitcase as our tutorial, right, as our demo. But then today we're going to hit the ground running, and dry cleaning that came in today is going to go back out the door having been processed by the new process, leveraging Presso.
Yes, that's awesome. I think we need to start in. So we're kind of assuming that everybody knows what Presso is, and they should, because, it's quite the stir in the industry right now. But can you explain to us what exactly the Presso machine is and what it does for those in our audience that haven't heard of it yet?
Presso is an all-in-one garment care system. So what we do is we press clothes. We also deodorize and sanitize clothes in 5 minutes. So this is a super user-friendly item that can be leveraged in order to do the finishing portion of dry cleaning work or a wet cleaning process in order to deliver dry cleaned results to your customers. We use the machine as a back-of-house machine. Now, there was a time where our goal was to be a real self-service machine. But what we really found out about the whole garment care industry is that people really want great work done by professionals, right? And so now we're in the laundromat space and we're enabling laundromats to do their dry cleaning in-house. We're also working with dry cleaners to be able to speed up turnaround time, right? And to be able to offer some services right out of their drop stores, or to enable mini cleaners that are able to process, to have a efficient operation at a smaller scale, right? So in between the scale of doing everything by hand and the scale of a dry cleaning plant, there wasn't really like a system of products that would enable an intermediary level of business. And we're really excited to be rolling that out nationwide.
Yeah, and I think I told you yesterday during the training, I think the timing of this is perfect because the dry cleaning industry and their big expensive plants and everything are shrinking. You know, I don't believe they're dying, but they're shrinking as an industry as a whole. The laundromat industry is exploding, but as we explode into what we call full service, we want to add complementary services like dry cleaning. And then the dry cleaners, because some of their margins are shrinking, they're trying to figure out more efficient ways to run plants and how to scale their business without building $1 million plant of formal, 6 different presses and steam boilers and all these different things. And I think right now in the dry cleaning industry, what's happening is there's just so much used equipment out there that you just pull out this used equipment and put in this used equipment. Well, that's only going to last so long as an industry. So what I see the Presso machine actually doing, I don't know if it was intentional, but I see we've always said that the laundromat industry and the dry cleaning industry are complementary sister industries who kind of behave in their own, right? Almost like cousins, if you will. Right? We're related, but we're not brother and sister per se. And now what's happening is those two industries are kind of going like this. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, Cam, but we do a lot of coaching and workshops, and more every day I'm having dry cleaners reach out to me. Mm-hmm. And we don't technically do dry cleaning, we wholesale it out. But they're reaching out to me because they want to get in the wet cleaning game. And they're usually already in the game a little bit. They've like dipped their toes in it, but they really want to figure out how to go after that wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery business while still being a dry cleaner. And I think they're going to need to, and I tell them this all the time, they're going to need to shift the way their plant is designed away from all these expensive formal pressing machines. And we talked about this last night at dinner, but the finishing machines that are out there it's quite an art to learn how to use them without damaging garments. One of the things that I think is really cool about Presso is in its inception 5 years ago, it was designed for the everyman. Yeah. It was designed to be out in the like next to the vending machines at a laundromat or in a lobby of a hotel or a luxury condo so that any person could just walk up with no experience and use this machine and pay with a credit card. Well, what you've learned is there isn't a ton of demand for that, but that it has a completely different use case in our industry as you kind of bring these two industries together. Yeah. And that's what's happening with us. So I think it's pretty exciting. I think the timing of it is perfect. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that it's going to revolutionize kind of both of our industries. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about today, guys. So we hope that you don't see this episode as just like a commercial for another product, right? We're hoping what you see is the vision and the story that we hope the three of us hope to tell today of how, whether you're a dry cleaner or you're a laundromat provider, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle, meaning you have a pickup and delivery facility with a small plant, and you could easily plug in a Presso machine and generate another $200,000 or $300,000 a year in revenue by offering a finished product. And just in case you're wondering, that's what we're doing. So we have been wholesaling dry cleaning for years. We have a great relationship with our dry cleaner, but as our business scales, they're having trouble keeping up with some of the demands that we have of next day returns and things like that. We also do a lot of drop-off dry cleaning. People come up to the counter and they want same-day service or 4-hour service or different things like that. And these are all things that we'd love to offer and we'd love to be able to mark up and at a higher margin. But our dry cleaners can't keep up with the productivity side of things. And so we find this is a perfect solution. So I don't know if that does a good job of kind of painting a picture of what we're going to talk about for the next hour or so. But I tell you what, I couldn't be more excited about it. And the machine is very robust, but it's also very cost effective too. That's one of the things I've noticed since it was dropped off on Monday. And of course, we start poking around at it before you even got here on Wednesday. And it's pretty robust, but it's well built and cost effective. And one of the things we were talking about is that I don't know if modular is the right word, but most of the parts that would be wear parts are just a matter of a few screws and a screwdriver. So once again, I don't need to be a technician to even repair the equipment or do maintenance on the equipment. it seems to be very well designed.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting, I think.
Well, and I just wanted to highlight too the fact that you said that it's made to be a self-service machine initially speaks to how easy it is to use and how the video screen on it actually takes you step by step what you need to do. So even the training if you don't do it as self-service, which we don't plan to, the training for your staff to do it, it's a very easy machine to do the processes with.
Let's talk about financing your next laundromat project for just a second. Whether you are purchasing an existing laundromat, building a new store, or just buying a small set of equipment, Eastern Funding has financing solutions to help you on your laundromat journey, just as they have me and Carla in the past. Eastern Funding has been financing laundromats since 1997, and they have helped thousands of owners get their deals done. They are specialists in the laundry space, and their combination of personalized service, expertise, and custom financing solutions makes them the premier lender in our industry. Learn more at easternfunding.com for your next project. Special thanks to the folks over at Eastern Funding for helping us to sponsor this episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Now back to the show.
Also, I want to highlight, if you're watching us on YouTube, obviously we're going to have some video where you can see what the machine looks like and how it works and everything. So if you're not on YouTube, if you're watching on another platform, you might want to check this out on YouTube. But for those who are only listening, to describe kind of what it looks like, Cam, can you describe what it looks like and what the process is to get these garments clean?
Sure. Yeah. So our machine's form factor is like a vending machine, right? So our roots are in a vision for clothing care, garment care that's on demand, right? Mm-hmm. And what we've created is this system that you hang up, you open the door like a dresser, right? Mm-hmm. We hang up our garment in there. We accept all different garment types, right? From dresses to slacks to button-down dress shirts, which are the real bread and butter of the dry cleaning industry. Yeah. We hang it up in there, use our clip system and other ergonomics inside the machine to fix the garment in place so that when we hit it with our steam and use our robotics in order to put the perfect tensioning onto garments, and then dry the garment as well. We've executed a great press as well as deodorizing and sanitizing at the same time. So looks like a big robot spaceship in a way, but it's the size of a vending machine, and we got cool LED lights on it. It's a flashy thing, all white, perfect powder coat, and it's pretty impressive when you roll it out of the box.
Yeah, I think the initial reaction, and I know this was ours when we first heard about Presso, when they were explaining the process, and we even saw a little video demo, it sprays a sanitizing spray, deodorizing spray, and it pulls it and presses it and steams it. Our initial thought was, okay, how is this different than spraying something with Febreze and steaming it? Can you speak to how this is better than that?
Absolutely. So our Fabric Refresh spray, our revitalization spray, as we call it, works with our system, right? So we tried every product on the market, right? We tried all the Febreze products, any fabric refresher, deodorizer, right? But a lot of them are designed to work over the course of several hours, right? They go to work slowly. So we found that nothing on the market worked well enough, fast enough for us. So we hired a chemist, brought that in-house, and developed this solution that gets excited by the hot, steamy, chaotic environment inside of our machine and works tremendously faster. Mm-hmm. We also developed the deodorization component specifically for human body odor. That was a pretty fun time in the office where we had synthetic body odor and real natural body odors coming into the office, and we were testing our effectiveness, right? And through the process, we found that just even applying even the current mix that we have now, the current chemistry, if you just apply it and let a garment hang dry, it doesn't work nearly as well as when it goes in the Presso machine, right? Because it excites the process, makes the reactivity go faster. And again, also another thing to add here is that we had an eco-friendly constraint put on our chemistry development, right? So we don't want to use harsh chemicals. We want this to be very safe, skin safe. I say that our solution we have now is good for your clothes, good for you, good for your clothes, and good for the planet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one thing that's really important when you make this analogy, Carla, is if I take up a dress shirt and hang it on a hook or something, and I spray it with Febreze, the garment is just laying there. It's not doing anything. Gravity's pulling down on it. That's not its natural state. Its natural state is being worn on a human. So I think one of the things that's really interesting that we saw in the training is the machine is designed to, if I overspeak, let me know. But my visualization of how the machine functions is that it almost functions in a mechanical way as the way a human would wear it, while placing tension at strategic places to get the wrinkles out. So I can see where the chemistry going in at the right time of a mechanical action is quite an art, quite of a song and dance, so to speak. And I think there's a pretty drastic difference in what you're describing and what the machine does. I don't know if any of that's accurate. I'm just making a lay perspective here of just like watching the machine and watching the action. And you talked a lot about like the sleeves, and I don't know what they're called, but the little cuff things.
Yeah, sleeve grippers.
Sleeve grippers. We might have a video of this we can show you, but if you're listening on audio, you know, if you have a long sleeve dress shirt, there are little cuffs things that it slides down over, and those things are actual mechanical, and they're designed to actually take instead of pressing the garment as if they would lay, the sleeves would lay like this, it's pressing it as if how I would behave, right?
Yeah.
And so there's really a lot of thought that goes into the intricacies of it, and I guess that's why, like, anybody could just make a box and spray it with Febreze and put a hanger in it. But that's not what this is. This is a robotic machine that is being robotic in its action. And I think that's what a lot of people miss when they just see a picture of the machine, or they just see it in a booth or whatever without being in action. I assume the Presso machine you're going to have in your booth at the Clean Show is going to be working.
Yeah,
like
and we expect to be busy, so we're going to have 2 Presso machines
Nice.
there too,
Okay.
so that we can be doing 2 demonstrations simultaneously.
Nice.
And then we alluded to it in the intro here, but a big product release that really plays in this market for our customers to alleviate the biggest pain point that our existing customers have still.
Yeah.
So we're super excited to reveal that. I think you really hit the nail on the head of, like, you know, everybody's taken a shirt out of their suitcase at the hotel and gone, I can't wear this. And then they,
even though it's clean.
Right. It's clean. It's clean.
Yeah.
It's laundered and you folded it.
We do it at almost every conference.
Went in, right?
Yep.
And you open the closet and you pull the iron out, and rusty, dirty surface and a dilapidated ironing board.
Yeah.
So what do? You put it on a hanger and you crank the shower up on hot and close the door and hope for the best, right? And as everybody knows, that doesn't really work that well, right? And that's because we need to hold the garment in exactly the right position, target the steam properly in order that it moves through the fabric, right? And we need to achieve what's called the glass transition temperature and humidity, which is when fabrics actually relax and are allowed to go back to their position, right? So fabrics are big, long chains of string, right? And those strings get all crinkled and they want to hold like that.
Yeah.
If we get them warm enough and humid enough, they get relaxed, and then we want to hold it in the right position. And then when we flash it with the dry, we set that press.
I think that's a great point, because I'm also think back to the visualization of yesterday with the machine, and the mechanical action is impressive. The tension is impressive. But now I'm thinking about the steam, and it's not just, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not just randomly entering the cabinet from wherever. It seems to be very strategically placed. And the reason I make that observation as I think through this is, depending on the garment you put in, steam comes from different portals.
Yes.
Depending on the design of the garment. And that's pretty cool. I'm like visualizing this as you're talking through this. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Because you actually have to enter what type of garment
You put the type of garment it is, and then, well, go ahead. I'll let you.
So all of our cycles are developed around shape, right? And there's a lot of standard shapes that we see in dry cleaning, right? Men's blazers like I'm wearing, men's dress shirt like I'm wearing, and slacks.
Yeah.
And then we have, women's garments, which tend to be a lot more unique. So each cycle is developed for that shape, so that we're applying steam and our revitalization solution at the right times in the right locations. And what really illustrates that the best is the men's dress shirt. So we also have inflatables in the shoulder of our hanger that inflate and seal off the armhole, if you will. And then we blast our steam up that sleeve, and it has to exit through the fabric, right? And that's what really executes our great press there as well. So in our central steam channel is robotic motion, right? So it points it in all sorts of different directions, right? And that's different for pants, different for a jacket, different for a shirt. And
it's
and that's really important. It affects our effectiveness tremendously, and that's a very time-consuming process for us. Shout out to my good friend Eric Slavinsky, our scientist in the office, our mad scientist. He did a tremendous amount of work to develop these cycles, and Dave kind of mentioned that our cycle times have come way down, our effectiveness has gotten way better, right? And we're constantly evolving this machine, and that's where that modular nature of the machine is important, because, you know, you can expect that if you own your Presso machine for years and years and years, it might not look exactly the same as when it started, right? But it'll be the same chassis, still be your machine. But as we develop new clip systems, different garment systems, we bring software updates over the air, right? So more customizability, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're building every single day to make our current product better.
Yeah.
And so, and as you all release newer versions, are you saying, like, if I have version A, when you get to version C, will we be able to, like, update our A without getting a new C even? Like, is that part of the modular, there's a word.
Modular nature.
Modularity?
The modular nature of that.
Yeah, so because our chassis is so robust and we want these things to live forever, when we develop updates for the machine, we update small chunks on the machine that are interchangeable, right?
Oh, nice.
And that's compatible with new software updates, et cetera. So, like, a lot of it will be ergonomics, right? So it's not so integral to how the machine actually works. But if we change the way our sleeve gripper works, that's going to be available to all of our clients, right? And to upgrade the functionality of their machine even further.
Yeah.
Whether you already have a laundromat or are looking to get into the laundry industry, everyone needs proper drainage. We use HM Company drain troughs. Their drain troughs were first created in 1991, and they have been the leading drain trough manufacturer ever since. They're made in the USA, and their drain troughs are fully customizable to meet your needs. That's why we've used them ever since entering the industry. They're easy to clean for our staff and plenty sturdy when we need to walk on them when servicing our washers. With the ability to span up to 25 feet, our troughs rarely need to be connected together, creating an easy installation. Want to slope your trough like we do? No problem. Just let the experts at HM Company know. For more information, go to their website at draintroughs.com. That is draintroughs.com. HM Company Drain Troughs. They've been leading the industry since 1991. Check them out today.
So before we move on to business strategy, which I'm going to totally geek out, or I already have been, about that. So when it comes to the machine itself, what kind of, I'm trying to, when we're doing these interviews, I always try to think of the people back home that are sitting there with questions in their mind that they can't ask you because they're not here with us.
Yeah.
And I think one of those is like the maintenance and repair aspect of, you know, every laundromat owner has that concern because we just fill up a room with a bunch of machines. Can you talk into that as far as what maintenance is required? What's the cost associated with that? Is there a subscription service for every year you get a box that has blah, 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 and you have to do blah, 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 or you send guys out to do this? Or what does that look like as I maintain this machine for 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So our most worry-free option is to opt in for our robot support subscription.
Okay.
And that's a monthly subscription that is total insurance that you will incur no additional cost in maintaining your machine.
Is there anything that I'm just going to jump in? Is there anything not included in that? Like, I know this thing has to have like an impressive motor or like gears and whatever. Is this just designed to be wear and tear items that you know you're going to have to do all the clips, a brake, and different things like that? Or does it include literally everything?
If anything breaks.
Yeah. So our machine comes with a 1-year warranty on every single part on the machine. And then our robot support is all of the service associated with replacing those parts. So if you're under warranty, your parts are also at no cost to you. Once your warranty expires, you have to pay for cost of the parts. But while you're on the support subscription, any of the help that you need in installing that, or if we send a technician out, that's all covered under your subscription.
Okay, so the parts are not covered beyond the 1-year warranty.
Correct.
But the support whether it's on the phone or FaceTiming or whatever, and or the labor of a tech actually coming out is what's covered by the subscription.
The parts are covered if you have the subscription, right?
Parts are covered under warranty, and then
Okay.
you can extend your manufacturer warranty. But the robot support is really all of our services. So additionally,
Okay.
all of our data services, all of our software updates.
But it's not the parts.
Correct.
Okay, so you'd have to, after that first year, you have to pay for the parts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I anticipate, the only things that really the guts of the machine are extremely robust, perhaps too robust. We spend a lot of money to have a really robust machine under the hood. Our ergonomics, the things that we're touching every single day, are the things that are most likely to wear. Those are super easy replacements and also very economical.
We got to tour your factory back, I guess, last year. One of the things I was also impressed with was how well it preserves your clothing. I know you all had examples of like where you'd taken some of the exact same products and, one of them washed like 1,000 times in a normal washing machine, normal cycles, and then 1,000 times clean them in the Presso machine. And it was amazing. They didn't even look like the same article of clothing.
Yeah.
So can you speak to how it really preserves your clothes to clean them with Presso instead of other ways of cleaning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we all know in the laundromat space that every time we wash something and agitate something, we're starting to break it down slowly by slowly. And we see that it show up in the lint trap on our drying units, right? And, those are just little pieces of our clothes left behind, right? So our air press and our air wash technology is non-abrasive, right? So we're not breaking down any fabrics like that. And additionally, what's different about air press, which is like our inside out steam press versus a flat hot surface iron press, is that we're never achieving any temperatures that are risky for garments, right? So, sometimes things get singed, things get too hot, buttons get cracked, et cetera, et cetera. None of that happens in the air press system. And yeah, the difference is night and day between, like I personally, I try really hard not to wash my clothes. I try to be very neat and I try not to spill on myself, right? But I get, 4 or 5 wears with Presso Press and Refresh out of my shirts. I've never washed this jacket, right, and worn it several times. Outerwear especially is, we all know it. I think we all do it with our jeans more than anything, right? And
They say you're not supposed to actually wash jeans every time you wear them.
Yeah.
Like they weren't designed that way, that it's bad for them.
Yeah, and you can really see it in jeans, right? Like you take your black jeans or dark wash jeans, the first wash, they're never the same anymore, right? And that doesn't happen with Presso. What I need my clothes to look good and I need them to smell good, right? And so the look good is just don't spill on yourself and keep them pressed and wrinkle free. And the smell good is really solved by our refresh solution.
Well, and I know, maybe some people at home are a little hesitant for that. And they're like, you're just kind of cleaning them. And so what you're really saying is they're not clean. If you've ever went and watched the laundering process, the water that comes out of there is, yes, dirty, but there are dyes that come out of that too, right? If you've ever went to a dry cleaning plant, I cannot imagine that there is anything more harsh on a piece of clothing than a commercial dry cleaning, steam boiled pressing system. I mean, trust me, the reason that using those presses is such an art is because it's actually really dangerous.
Yeah.
And if you know anybody that's worked in a dry cleaning plant, almost daily they come home with burns all over themselves, even though they're a professional and they are trained to not get their hands in the way. And it's usually from a very quick bump of these things. That is incredibly harsh on, honestly, some of our most expensive clothing. I do think customers will observe over a period of time, if they're sending their dry cleaning into somebody that's using a Presso machine, that the clothes just look brighter and fresher, and they're still clean and they're still pressed and crisp, but they're not damaged.
Yeah.
And if you've ever examined something that comes back from a dry cleaner that's been pressed on a steam boil press, if you look close, like let's take the example of a pair of men's dress pants that have the creases that everybody loves down the middle. If you pull that back and actually look at it, typically about an inch or two on each side of that crease, the fabrics are actually beginning to be melted, right? And when you think of this is how we treat our most expensive garments, our suits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's how we treat them, sometimes on a weekly basis. That could be a $5,000 suit. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of mind-blowing to think that's how we've cleaned and kept ourselves looking presentable for years. And I'll say it again, I think the cool thing about the Presso technology is we're finding some middle ground in the middle there where the technology is less dangerous for our team to use in a plant environment. So it makes it, what's the word I'm looking for? Operationally, it allows us to have a less skilled team member be able to finish garments without damaging them and without risk themselves.
Yeah.
Is your laundromat ready to become the neighborhood's #1 choice? LaundroBoost has proven strategies to help your business flourish.
I think we saw changes pretty quick before that 4-month range. I'm in that 4-month range now, and we're seeing changes left and right. I mean, pickup and delivery clients, drop-off clients, self-service clients, businesses up as a whole.
Literally, it was shocking to watch the numbers jump. I wish I could go back and I could begin to track these things, which I have done, to see what percentage growth we had, but it wasn't unusual to go up 30% per month.
At LaundroBoost, we specialize in fueling laundromat growth. Through targeted Google ads and powerful social media campaigns, we make your location stand out and attract loyal customers. Ready to level up your laundromat? Visit laundroboostmarketing.com and book a call with us for a free consultation.
Something I want to illuminate here is as we think about an operation that leverages Presso in order to provide a dry cleaning product, is Presso's just a part of the process, right? And the good news for laundromat owners is you've got, in your guys' case, 38, correct me if I'm wrong?
38
wet cleaning machines. You call them washers. What a dry cleaning plant would call those are wet cleaning machines, right? There's nothing different between a wet cleaning machine and a washer except for...
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know people that are listening to this tend to be in the dry cleaning business or the laundry business. So our knowledge base is probably higher than the average consumer.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I still don't think even us dry cleaning and laundromat owners really understand what that means. Can you go into a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah, so briefly to define dry cleaning for your customer is comes to you and wants dry cleaning. They see the dry cleaning sign on the outside of Queen City Laundromat. They come in there because they want clean clothes, pressed on a hanger in a bag. They could really care less what happens to get that result, right? They want their clothes well taken care of. They don't want anything ruined. They don't want their buttons blown up, et cetera. They want their stains out too. There's expectations, right? But what they're looking for is clean, pressed on a hanger in a bag, right? And it's called dry cleaning because historically we always used solvent, dry solvents, right? Not water, right? And but nowadays with a modern wardrobe and modern chemistry that's been developed in the industry for wet cleaning, as well as it fits with this whole eco revolution that's going on nationwide and specifically in our industry too. Wet cleaning detergents and agents are extremely effective on all fabric types. There is nothing that can be worn these days that is not wet cleanable with modern technology.
And I'll go a step further and say the truth is 80 to 90% of what goes through that plant is wet cleaned.
Yeah.
There are very few items that are actually dry cleaned anymore. And I think it's fair to say, and I've had friends that are dry cleaners tell me this, that it's less and less every day.
Yeah.
They're using their judgment. When it comes in, you might pay $45 to clean that comforter. And if they look at that comforter and they're confident that it can be wet cleaned because of modern technology and detergents and things like that, they'll just throw it in a washer and they'll wash it that way, but they'll still charge you $45.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a little off subject here from the Presso, but my point is, I think a lot of these things, a lot of people don't understand this even in our industry. And I'll throw my hand up and say, before 6, 7, I don't know how long we've been, 6, 7 years we've been doing dry cleaning. Before that, we had no idea. And the truth is the dry cleaning industry has shifted drastically over the last 30 years, and they're wet cleaning almost everything.
Right.
And then they're pressing it and putting it in a bag. The customer doesn't know that, and they don't care, quite honestly.
They just don't want their stuff to be ruined.
They just want the finished product. That's all they care about.
That's right, yeah. And again, Presso is just a part of this process, right? With all of our customers, there is other things that need to be involved in order to be a full service dry cleaner, as in giving out a dry cleaning product, whatever process you're using in order to achieve that end product, whether it be a wet cleaning system or it be, a hydrocarbon dry cleaning system, right? Presso plays with all of that, right? What we really offer is an all-in-one, a single machine that can execute a finish press on any type of garment, right?
Any type? Can you even do like leather or fur? And
Leather we don't
leather.
do, right? So
Okay.
we do
wedding
fabrics, right?
dresses.
Textiles. Textiles we don't do leather because leather doesn't like water.
Okay.
Leather's cleaned with balms and brushes and that's a whole specialized process. And
Yes.
I think what's really cool about the laundromat industry as this whole shift is happening, right, is people are looking for one-stop shops. People are looking for the Amazon of clothing care where everything in their house can be taken care of by one person.
Yes.
Can be picked up all at once from your doorstep if you're running pickup and delivery, right? And both sides, the laundromat industry and the dry cleaning industry, are interested in this. I think that laundromats are exceptionally well positioned given that they have way more square footage. They're used to operating 7 days a week, 3 shifts sometimes. And not to mention, you already have a whole bunch of wet cleaning machines out on the floor. A conventional dry cleaning plant, maybe has two, three
And a big one.
washing machines versus if you've got 30 of them on your floor. You can keep your customers' things together. You can go very quickly. You're already equipped majorly in that sense. You just need the finishing portion.
That's really why we were drawn to Presso, is this idea of this whole new revenue stream or increase of a revenue stream. So we have been fortunate in that we've been offering dry cleaning for a long time because we found a dry cleaner in our area that wholesales it to us, and they try really hard to meet all of our needs. Like for our pickup and delivery, we need next day turnaround, and they've been able to do that for our delivery service. For drop off, they aren't able to do that. So even though they have been phenomenal, and we get a lot of people at our workshops that are like, we would love to bring in dry cleaning and offer dry cleaning because it's this whole new revenue stream because, they wholesale it to us, we mark it up, and then that's instant profit, and our people barely touch it. But finding a dry cleaner that can do what you need. And then there's the whole idea of outsourcing because you're relying on somebody else's product, somebody else's service, somebody else's timeline if they don't get it back to us in time. And our dry cleaning has actually grown so much that we've kind of outgrown our dry cleaner. We have too much product for them to turn around in that shorter time frame. So we're bringing in the Presso machine and going to start doing today doing
Literally
some
today.
of the dry
Day one.
cleaning in-house. So a lot of the dry cleaning we do is the shirt service. So literally, even though it's called dry cleaning a shirt, it is wet washed, even at the dry cleaner.
Every time.
And then pressed. So now we can
In fact, if
do it there.
I'll interrupt you and say, if you go on a dry cleaner's website or even our website, it doesn't even say dry clean for a shirt. It says laundered and pressed. Now, they don't say wet cleaning, but it's put in a wash. I've seen it in 10 different plants. It's put in a regular washing machine and it's finished with their presses. Well, most laundromat owners don't want to invest in the skilled labor and all the presses and the steam boilers and all that.
All the
What an
equipment.
amazing solution.
Not to mention days and days of paying, steam rated plumbers to outfit your space.
Oh yeah.
Lots
Big
of square
money.
footage. And it's a unit of scale that is massive. What we're bringing to the table is a smaller unit of scale that's buildable, right? So you get your one Presso machine first, and when you outgrow that one, you put another one right next to it. And when you outgrow that one, you get 3 next to each other, right? And I think eventually there absolutely is benefits to all of the specialized presses, the specialized labor. That's not going anywhere for the really large scale.
Agreed.
But in the retail space, in an on-demand economy, when it has to be back really fast, the only way to do it is to decentralize it a little bit and bring it back to your drop stores, to your laundromat, do it on premises, right? And not only, to meet the 1-day turnaround time, but to meet those requests. So when people have a laundry emergency, I call it, right? I'm calling everywhere. Like, can you get this done in a matter of hours?
And all
If
they
you
want
have
it to look
Presso,
is
the answer
presentable.
can be yes.
Well, and at a markup. So that's more revenue.
Sure.
People are usually, people are willing to pay for a rush service.
Absolutely.
They realize they're going to pay a premium price. So that means you even get a higher margin.
Well, and I'll say this, we've been doing dry cleaning for a while, so I want to explain our business model. I'll just break it down for you when it comes to dry cleaning. So laundered shirts are not at a 50% margin, but pretty much everything else that we do in dry cleaning is. Laundered shirts are at more like about a 30, 35% margin. And that's pretty common in the industry. The interesting thing is laundered shirts make up about 80 to 85% of our dry cleaning revenue. So when I say dry cleaning revenue or dry cleaning pieces are 50% margin, the truth is only about 15% of them are. The rest of them at a 30% margin. The rest of it we're paying to our wholesale dry cleaner to do things that we could have done if we have a washer, which of course we do, and we had a Presso machine to finish the product, right? Yeah. So that's one very simple way to increase our profitability by bringing it in-house. Shirts, if you've ever watched a shirt be finished, if you have the right machine, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched it happen in a dry cleaning plant, and I've watched it happen to a Presso machine, and the end result is the same. And that's what the owner of the shirt cares about.
Absolutely.
Now, on the other side of the equation, right now, we do pickup and delivery with next day returns. That's a big differentiator for us, and we're not willing to sacrifice that. So when we found a dry cleaner, we turned down a bunch of dry cleaners because they couldn't do next day returns. They couldn't keep up with that. The dry cleaner we've been working with the last 5 or 6 years, great people, become friends of ours, really high character, hardworking individuals. But the truth of the matter is, as our business continue to scale, we just keep putting pressure on them because that's not something they normally do for their clients. And it's not something that their really business models built around. Well, our thought is if 80% of our stuff is shirts and they're laundered anyways, we can launder them in our washers, throw them in a Presso machine, finish them off, put a poly bag over them, and only send over the 15% that really need 15 to 20% that really needs the finishing things that a true robust dry cleaner offers. Okay. That's phase one.
That's not to say you can't do it with the Presso machine either. Yes, I have a lot of customers who are doing 100% everything that comes through their door.
And we will be testing that, and we completely believe in that. But I just call this the low-lying fruit. It amounts to a pretty good amount of money. But what it also does is keeps the control in-house.
That's
right.
Huge.
Because every time we need to put it in a truck and send it to them, that takes time. And then once it gets there, it has to enter their flow process, their operations. That usually has a lag time associated with it. And then on the back end, it has to go back into a truck and get delivered back to us versus it being in-house. That hinders us from a lot of times being efficient with our routes because we might have 50 drop-offs on a route and only 8 of them have dry cleaning, but none of the 50 route can go out because it's 30, 40 minutes from our store until we get the dry cleaning. Right? Every time that happens, we're paying a driver to sit there and do nothing, sit there and wait, and we're hindering the process of how quickly we get it back to our customers. That's a customer experience problem, right? So we have a financial aspect, we have a customer experience aspect. Well, now we have locations that offer drop-off dry cleaning. We have a ton of people come in wanting to drop off dry cleaning, and they need it done either same day or next day at a minimum, right? And we can't offer either of those, and we can't even get close. We can't even do 2-day, right? And we're completely at the mercy of the dry cleaner, which has this capacity issue, right? And so what we're doing is we're turning them away, right? And so from a business model perspective, adding a Presso machine and eventually a second Presso machine in store keeps everything in-house. And what we plan on doing is taking our 3 to 4 day turnaround time price for dry cleaning and raising it by roughly $2 a unit, and offering a next day service over the counter. What we're also planning on doing is offering a 4-hour turnaround time and adding another $2 onto the next day price. So now a $10 pair of pants is $12 for next day. That $2 goes right to the bottom line, our margin. Then we add another $2 if you want a 4-hour turnaround time. And the truth is I can take that pair of pants, throw them in a washing machine in a half an hour and wash them, throw them in a Presso in 5 minutes, and in theory, in 25, 30 minutes, your pants are done. But I have 4 hours to fit them into our operational process.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to go somewhere else, and it doesn't need to come back, and we don't need to wait on a driver. And so I hope people understand from our perspective, just Queen City Laundry and how we function and operate, this is why we invested in Presso. And if you do the numbers real quick and you know what a Presso machine costs, they're pretty reasonably priced, I think, for the robust machine that it is. The truth is we're going to get an ROI of what we anticipate about 4 to 5 months. So one of the things I'd love for you to share, I know there's a bunch of other units out in the marketplace and different people are finding different use cases or maybe slight variances of the use cases that we see. And some of those may someday be implemented into our business model too. But can you talk about a few of the customers that just kind of, I know
Sure.
putting you on the spot, but kind of top of mind of how they're using it, and maybe they don't even own a laundromat or whatever. There's some really unique things out there that I think the audience would be intrigued by, because I know I am.
Yeah. So your use cases, I use the term slam dunk for your guys' use case, right? The use case is I already offer retail dry cleaning. I shop it out to a wholesaler, and maybe I have some pain points. Turnaround time being one of them, right? There's existing business right there, so you can calculate your ROI immediately, right? So let's talk about a different use case. I'm a new laundromat owner, and I know, and I've gotten up to my 4 turns a day in my self-service. I'm doing a really good job on self-service. So this is the story of Kendra Williams, who's just got her Presso machine, and she's in Jacksonville, Florida, owner-operator of the Laundry Zone. She's focusing on one thing at a time. She's got her self-service up to doing 4 turns a day, which is where we want to be in the industry. And now she's turning her attention to additional revenue streams, right? And so when she looks to go to market more aggressively with her dropped off wash, dry, fold and her pickup and delivery wash, dry, fold, she sees the opportunity to be that one-stop shop to also include dry cleaning services. Yeah. Because that's she's breaking into this market in a big metro area that has other competitors, right? So you need a way to differentiate yourself. Be that one-stop shop where we do dry cleaning and we do wash and fold, so we take care of everything in your house, right? And having that one-stop shop as a differentiator is a really great way to grow in your market very quickly. And so we put a Presso machine, back of house. We fit it in where we could in her space. And, we're going live right now with marketing this service, the all-in-one service. And she hopes that she can convert her existing wash, dry, fold clientele to also grab their dry cleaning. Then you're also out there doing pickup and delivery dry cleaning, which is very rare. And so you get people in the door that way. And then you upsell them on your wash and fold, right? Like, we're doing your suits for you. Why don't we do your kids' clothes for you? Why don't we do your bedding for you more often than you do right now? Why don't we do your towels for you? Like that, there's 2 ways in to your clientele now, right? And then ideally, you have their whole closet. Yeah. And that's a great way to take market share. And I mean, we've just been off the ground a matter of days over there, but very quickly, sampling tactics, right? Wash and fold comes in, we take one item out and we dry clean it and say, hey, we can do this service now too, and here's the proof. And, clean press on a hanger in a bag. Okay, great. Light bulb goes off for people, right? Oh, I can do both in one place. How wonderful is that? So,
yeah.
And this is what we call vertical integration in business, right? So you can sit there and run 4 turns a day and have a good business. And by the way, the laundromat business is a good business, ain't going away anytime soon. And I'm a big fan. But man, you know what's even better than having a $600,000 laundromat? Having an $800,000 laundromat that does $200,000 of dry cleaning, right? And so this is, when we share, I'm gonna tangent for a second here. When we share the story of Laundromat Millionaire, and everybody's always like, oh, these people just brag that they're millionaires and how much money they got and whatever. It's like, okay, we can take that heat. But the truth is, what we're really trying to do is show you that laundromats weren't enough. Yeah. That's actually the underlying undertow that comes from our story. It's very nuanced that I think a lot of people miss. The story is, yes, we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yes, we have 4 very successful laundromats. But the truth is, if we stayed with our business model at day one, which was open 24 hours, unattended, plain Jane laundromats, nothing special, very limited staff, the stereotypical passive laundromat income, right? If we had stayed there, we still to this day, after 15 years, would not be millionaires, right? And so would we make a good living? Yes. Is there any harm in that? Is the goal to be a millionaire? No. But my thing was always, like, I'm obsessed with optimization of a business. I'm completely and utterly obsessed with my fixed expenses are my equipment, my equipment, my mortgage, my rent, whatever those things are. And then most other things are variable expenses, right? And so if my rent is, let's say my rent's $5,000 a month. My rent's $5,000 a month, whether I make $5,000 a month in revenue or $5 million a month in revenue, it's still $5,000 a month. So I want those fixed expenses to become so small as a percentage of sales that I can't even see them. Business is about risk, and it's about risk reward, right? And we already take the risk in investing and borrowing all this money to build these facilities and sign 20 and 30-year commercial leases or buy a mortgage or whatever, all these things. Why be content with $350,000 a year when you can generate 700, right? And the beauty of doing that is everybody always thinks, and I hear this kind of negative connotation a lot of times, people always say, well, yeah, but that's a lot more work. And what I always tell people is in the short term, it is, right? We do workshops, we do coaching, we teach people. I'm not going to lie that if you want to shift from a plain Jane self-serve unattended laundromat to a full service laundry operation, there are new operations. You need to
build a team.
You got to build a team.
Absolutely.
But you know what the beauty of it is? What I learned is with that self-serve only business model, there isn't enough revenue and margin to afford a team. And that's why people get stuck in this treadmill of being self-employed versus business investors. And owning a business is different than being self-employed. And so the ways that I did that is try to find new revenue streams. Did it add small complexities to the business? Yes. But as it added those complexities to the business, I had more layers of revenue and profitability, and we would take a small percentage of that and reinvest it back in layers of management. And so now we have store managers at each store, an assistant GM, and a GM who runs the operation of the business. And now the business, I know this is a hated word, but now our business is truly our passive for us. And the thing I get excited about bringing this back to Presso is this is a complementary tool that, apparently 5 years ago we didn't have, but as recently as 2 years ago, I didn't think we had, right? I didn't know it existed. And so we can plug it into our current business model, and to ask a laundromat to become a dry cleaner plant-wise is a very, very, very big undertaking financially.
Huge.
Skill-wise, safety-wise, OSHA, all these different things. But to ask them to drop a Presso machine and have their attendant finish a shirt out, like we learned yesterday, can be taught in 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once again, stepping off the soapbox now, but man, that gets me going.
Yeah.
Well, and we've been highlighting Presso as an additional revenue stream for existing laundromats, which is what it's going to be for us.
Yep.
But I know you have actually at least one customer where it's their sole revenue stream.
This is
Can you
pretty
talk
cool.
about how they've done this business, created a business?
Absolutely. So Drew Kells and his wife Ari Kells are a young family in Portland, Oregon, and they've worked great jobs, and they're looking for some financial security, right? Some additional revenue stream, to be business investors, right? And they realize we drive up the road 15 minutes to get to the dry cleaners, and they're putting up apartment buildings everywhere right in our neighborhood, right? They came upon us and came to us with this business model that's genius, frankly, is
Agreed.
the smallest
Very
possible
intrigued.
unit of full service cleaning, garment care, right? What does that look like? It's 470 square feet retail space. Their counter up front with the Sense terminal on top. They've got some storage space. They got 2 Presso machines to be able to handle, if they get a surge in demand or someone needs something fast. And then they got stacked washer dryer in there so that they can do full service cleaning all in one space. And the access that gives you to premium real estate, this space is spectacular. It's underneath a wonderful apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a small little retail space, and it was plumbed for a sink or plumbed for a bathroom. And all we had to do is pull some electricity in. Most retail spaces have everything there that we need for this small operation, right?
Yeah.
We don't need huge, high pressure, fire hydrant water like you need for a laundromat, right? We need enough to run one, maybe, how this scales up and how you fill out the spaces, kind of up to you and your balance, right? So, but to run a Presso machine, you need almost no water.
Yeah.
You need some power, right? But that's readily available.
Yep.
Again, we talk about the machines being plug and play because it doesn't use anything crazy. It's not hardwired in. It's the same 4-prong dryer plug that's behind your dryer that's in your house. So with this model, you get access to premium real estate, so you can be in places that a dry cleaning plant can't be. Only previously a drop store could be, which then enables this turnaround time, right? And then you get to not only compete on convenience, which is really important in pedestrian cities like New York. My buddies who live in New York, I ask them all the time, I'm like, well, how do you pick your dry cleaner? How do you pick your dry cleaner? It's like, well, the one that's on my walk to work.
Yeah.
And if you can do that in more places, right? If you can be right near where you drop the kids off for school, or in the smallest unit in the shopping complex with a Whole Foods, right? this small unit is really creating access, not only in big urban environments, but also in more rural environments too, where you've got some dry cleaning demand. So let me tell another story. So these guys, this is Drew Kells and Ari Kells of CC Clean. Check them out. They're just launching. I'm super excited for them. Yeah. I think this model is really exciting, right? And I think
and two, the
huge potential
the investment, 2 Presso machines and a stacked washer and dryer versus all of the dry cleaning equipment.
Yeah,
that you have to.
We're talking about
a
factor of 10 less upfront investment, right?
Plus less rent because you can be in such a smaller space.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or maybe, you still pay good money on rent, but you get incredible location, right?
Class A location.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is amazing. I mean, to be that small of a location, and so do they not even wholesale out anything? Or are they doing all of the product in-house with that? How many square feet did you say it was?
Yeah, it's 470 square feet. Again, they've got prime real estate, 470 square feet, 2 Presso machines to handle surge, 1 stacked washer dryer, Sense point of sale, storage, and the best part is they're running that whole thing on one staff at a time. They've hired a wonderful general manager named Alyssa, who actually used to work in a dry cleaning plant. And when I got there and really trained and helped set up this whole business, right, like her glowing review of this new way of doing dry cleaning was incredible. She previously worried about her health, hot and sweaty, and and not all dry cleaning plants are like this, right? But the place that she worked, it was hot, it was hard work, and she told me a story about having to cover one of the pressing machines one time without a robust amount of training, and she burned herself, right? Nothing crazy, but she's like, look, that equipment was stinky and hot and dangerous, and this is the absolute opposite.
Any dry cleaner will have scars all over their hands.
She is so excited to be that general manager and take a lot of ownership there. And I think that, we talked about your guys' tremendous staff, right? It's like this opportunity could be, you could be self-employed and do it there and figure it out and all the way, right? But what you could also do is hire somebody who's an ambitious person who perhaps wants to be self-employed while you can be the business owner, right? Mm-hmm. You give them some equity or incentive structure, right? And then pretty quickly they're running the whole business for you. And like I said, like this small single unit, whatever we want to call it, the mini cleaners, micro cleaners kind of concept is what I'm running with there. Mm-hmm. It can be run by one person.
Yeah, right? You basically are taking what's been around forever, which is a drop store, but what a drop store can't be as a plant until now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But 1 washer, 1 dryer, I would argue 1 Presso machine. And you can grow into 2 very quickly. I mean, they probably put 2 in for redundancy, I'm guessing. But I mean, I'm thinking as I'm just thinking as a business person. I mean, the infrastructure costs are almost nothing. The equipment costs are very minimal. I mean, this could potentially be an investment of $75,000 to $100,000. And if you go to the SBA and you can finance 90-80% of that, 70% of that, you got 20 or 30 grand, and you could be making a couple $100,000 a year with this. And if you buy a commercial washer from Alliance or Laundrolux or whoever, and a commercial dryer, and you buy a Presso machine, you shouldn't need a whole lot more. You should be making $200,000-$300,000 out of this little space. Rent's probably your highest cost.
Yeah.
I mean, man, what a business model. Good for them.
Cool. Yeah, and I wanted to say to everybody listening here that this is not a franchise that Presso's running, right? Yeah. So if anybody's interested in doing this, I know that you have a lot of listeners who are new to the laundry space, or, I've talked to some of my clients who were aware of you and listening and learning about the industry before they even entered. Yeah. So if you're thinking, man, I want to be in the laundry space, but I need to figure out how I'm going to finance a couple $1 million to do a full retool to have an operation I'm really proud of. What we have here is a less than 6-figure entry point, and there's no reason that you can't start to grow your full service business that way, and then get a bigger warehouse space for processing, right? Like this is a great jumping point for people, and when you're working with us, we'll get you connected with everybody you need, right? We can make introductions for financing, we can make introductions for equipment, we're going to do the on-site training, right, too. So we really want to enable more people to be doing this. So if you're interested, that's absolutely something that you should reach out to us about. See us at the Clean Show, talk you through it. Again, no, starting any business is not simple, right? Especially starting from scratch. But I'll plant this seed too. You could consider, if you have a little bit more cash on hand, instead of starting from scratch, you could buy a drop store.
Yep.
Maybe you're in a rural area.
I already
and
got
the mom and pop, drop store
Yeah.
that maybe is setting out or maybe is pressing everything by hand
Yeah.
is for sale in your town. And if that goes out of business, then there's no business in town.
Yep. Very common.
Buy that up.
Happening
owner
every day.
finance, bring in the better equipment,
Yeah.
be an efficient operation, be in a place where you don't have to be working there all the time every day,
Yeah.
right? So that's another angle into this too, is to convert a drop store or to start a new business in prime real estate as well. And you can execute your rebrand, and you can work all of the strategies that Dave and Carla have taught you for how to grow a great full service business and be this mini garment care center.
Yep.
And again, not a franchise. We're not getting in anybody's way.
Yep.
Anybody can do this. And you guys say it all the time, you can do it, we can help. Presso is excited to help in this process as well.
Yeah. So you touched on something before. I know we're running out of time, and we appreciate you guys being there. This has been a fantastic episode, so thank you for joining us, Cam. So you talked on financing. Can this be financed?
Absolutely. Yep. So we don't finance ourselves, right? We work with the big players in the industry, but they are financing Presso machines at 100%.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good to know.
So no down payment, absolutely necessary. Yeah.
And just to push a little further, is that when they're doing other projects, or is that I don't need any other financing? I got everything. I've been in business for 6 years, and I just want a Presso machine, and it's X amount of dollars, and they will just finance that and drop it in my store 100%.
Yep, absolutely. They've underwritten a bunch of deals for us that are exclusively one Presso machine.
And this is just all the industry-specific lenders that we all know about.
Eastern Funding, Clean Laundry Funding.
Yeah.
Anybody else that we haven't worked with yet. We haven't had anybody turn a deal down.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of flexibility.
So the next step, obviously, is to check you out at the Clean Show. So booth 1569. And I understand there is going to be a big reveal of an additional product. And if you can't be at the Clean Show, we are going to live stream it from the Presso booth. Can you give us any hints as to what this reveal is?
Don't get yourself in trouble.
So we've talked about this wet cleaning process in order to deliver a dry cleaning product, right? There's a few parts to this, right? You've got your entry, your over the counter and your inspection and all that. And then you've got your stain treatment, and then you've got your wet washing, and then you've got your finishing. Yeah. All I can say is that this new product is a way to automate a stage of that process.
That's going to complement the Presso machine for that part of the process.
Absolutely.
Which is really smart for you guys to be like, I would think that it would be common for a company in your situation to be like, how can we make the Presso machine 3.0 or whatever? And I'm sure you're doing that. But I think it's really cool that you back out of your core product and be like, this is really solid. We're going to always be innovating on the core product, but we're going to try to build complementary products to solve complementary problems. I'm guessing at a much lesser price point, because we see that every time somebody owns a laundromat, they put a Presso machine in, that they have this problem. But what if we solve that problem too? And if we solve 2 or 3 of these problems, all of a sudden the whole business model, like the whole industry, changes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. Well, the last thing I want to throw out there is just a little bit of self-promotion. Carla talked about we're going to be in the Presso booth, and that we're going to be live streaming this new reveal and talking about Presso a little bit more and things like that. That's true. We're going to be doing that 5 or 6 times at different booths throughout the Clean Show the first 2 days. So one of them is the Presso booth. We will obviously be at our booth, the Laundromat booth. The Laundromat booth will actually be there twice. We'll be live streaming on day 1, and on day 2, we'll be doing a book signing and a book giveaway. So we're going to be giving away 75 of my books completely for free. The first 75 people that line up at the booth at 3 o'clock on day 2, which is Sunday of the Clean Show. The book signing is going to be free. The books are going to be free. They're just first come, first serve. And then we'll release an agenda on social media very soon, an itinerary of what time we're going to be at what booths and what we're going to be speaking about and who we're going to be speaking with. But what we're trying to do is, for the people that are at the Clean Show but can't be everywhere at once, we want them to know that this booth does this and this booth number does this and so on and so forth. So to be able to live stream and talk to the founders and the CEOs of the companies, we can get that information out, and hopefully the people that need that service or product will be attracted to that booth. And what we're just trying to do is, like, we're not getting anything out of it. We're just trying to kind of put the Clean Show on steroids, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or if you can't make it to the Clean Show,
of course,
then you can at least watch the live streams and learn about some of the products out there.
Thank you, Carla, because that's where I was going next with it is, if you can't make it it to the show, you get to see us in an interview, the founders of Presso and Cam and stuff at the clean show on the floor in the background with the Presso machine running and stuff like that. And we're going to try to do that at some pretty innovative booths. Of course, one of them being Launder Boost. We definitely think you should stop by and check our team out.
All right. So before we let you go today, Cam, how can our listeners reach out to you, reach out to Presso, and learn more about your product?
Yeah, we're excited to meet everybody at the Clean Show to see a live demonstration of the Presso machine. To some extent, you kind of have to see it to believe it.
You do.
But if you're not going to be at the Clean Show or you want to get in touch with us beforehand, before we're really, really busy, hint, hint, wink, wink, like you want to be in line now, you can go to our website. That's getpresso.com, G-E-T, Presso, P-R-E-S-S-O.com, and fill out a form, and we'll be in touch with you immediately. You can also find us on social media at getpresso, at G-E-T-P-R-E-S-S-O. Also on LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn handle is just Presso. We really, really are excited to meet everybody and talk business. And I'm excited for people to bring new business models to us, right? That's what excites me most,
cool.
right? People who want to serve an underserved community or start a new business or add a revenue stream or in-house their dry cleaning, or if you're a dry cleaner and you want to equip your drop stores to be able to do rapid turnaround. If you're interested in putting this on premise, if you're interested in building a little mini cleaners in, a law firm. Like there's a lot of opportunities out here, and we want to be in touch with each and every single one of you. So come see us at the Clean Show, booth 1569. Find us at Get Presso.
The thing I want to leave everybody with today is I think we gave an example of when you plug the Presso machine into, I think what we are doing with the Presso machine is the closest thing to a slam dunk in business I've ever seen. Right now, is it a business model? No, we've built the business over 15 years. We're plugging in a new product to really lower expenses and increase revenues, and that's rare. And the last thing I'll say on it is I think there's almost no risk. How often do we say that in business? Because we already have the business. This is the closest thing to a slam dunk I've ever seen. You may be in that situation. You may have 100, 200, 50,000 in dry cleaning revenue and want to grow it and want to lower your expenses. You may have none of this and just a laundromat right now, plug in a Presso machine, and maybe your ROI won't be 6 months because you don't have this book of business. But I want to hit on something Cam talked about a second ago before we go today. A lot of dry cleaners and drop stores are going out of business. And a lot of times they're going out of business because they can't afford to retool, or the drop store can't be self-sufficient. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I don't know if you thought about it before today or if that popped out during the interview.
That's my secret business model, personally.
That is really smart. Man, if you could go out there and drop a Presso machine and a washer and dryer into an existing drop store that's on the verge of going under, you could, in theory, get that business for pennies on the dollar, $5,000, $10,000, just to let them walk away when they were getting ready to close it anyways, and you walk in with $75,000 in clientele. Jeez, talk about a slam dunk once again. And a lot of times those drop stores are in good locations, but not great. So their rent is reasonably priced for the traffic that you're getting. They may not be a Class A, but they may be a Class B or B plus. So I didn't want to scour over that too quickly because I think that's really smart. We've come up with a couple different business models that I think could work. The thing that I'm most excited about, Carla and Cam, is that I think this tool is really going to revolutionize our industry. And I don't say that lightly. When I say that about different companies and products and services, like I can see it. I have the vision of like what this looks like. And usually we have one specific use case for a product or a tool or a company or whatever. But I think in this case, it's almost endless because I think the robustness of the machine, the simplicity of how to use it, and then the price point. Like you rarely find all three of those that fit together in that way. I think that's pretty cool.
So that's it for today's show. Hopefully you learned a lot about Presso and you are ready to take the jump and add a new revenue stream, or maybe a whole new business model. Maybe this will be your entry into the laundry industry, is making your own Presso drop store. Don't forget to hit subscribe and add some comments. And as always, sponsored by HM Company at draintroughs.com. So check them out as well. We hope to see you at the Clean Show in just a few days if you're watching this as soon as it's released. So that's it for today. We'll see you next time from the Laundromat Millionaire Show.